Ladies and gentlemen, brosners of all shapes, sizes, and colors, welcome back to the Wild Times. Wild Times! Woohoo! The best podcast on the air, the only podcast where three bros hang out, talk about wildlife news, action, adventure, travels, tell stories, and it is hosted by the one and only broologist, me right here, Mr. Forrest Galante. Joined with me is Papa P, Papa Patrick DeLuca, the bro-ducer, the one and only professional producer that actually doesn't produce this show but hangs out because we travel together all the time and we bullshit and have fun.
That's a good point.
How you doing, Patrick?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I noticed my lighting's a little red here. I've got to fix this.
I think it's just
People
your
are gonna
sunburn.
think I'm sunburned.
Yeah. And then we also have Tep.
That was gross.
A lot of rolling R's in there. The brofessor, the one and only PhD of the podcast. He's an amazing man, an incredible intellectual, well respected by all of his peers, not just for his academic accolades, but also his potato-shaped head. How are you, Tep?
Doing well, my friend. Have a glass of wine. My teeth will be as red as Pat's face. I have a red hat on. I hope it matches Pat's face as well. My head is not a potato. Fuck
it is.
you.
It is a potato. It is a potato. It is a potato. It is a potato.
It looks like a potato.
What's with you guys and potatoes?
Like a potato.
You guys fucking...
Well, hang on. Speaking of which, look, I have no opinion on any of this, right? This is not a political podcast. We don't get into the socio-economic dynamics of the country. We talk about wildlife and booze. But there was a kid that lived on my block. Okay, we called him Funsky Munsky because he had all the best toys. Okay?
And his last name was Munsky.
He had... Yes, his last name was Munsky. He had a Mr. Potato Head.
Of course.
It was like I would make play dates with Funsky Munsky just to play with his potato head because it was so much fun. Did you guys have a Mr. Potato Head? We're at that age.
I had a Mr. Potato Head, and my sister had a Mrs. Potato Head, and it was a treat.
Well, Mr. Potato Head was in the news this week. This did come across my desk.
Tell me more.
Mr. Potato Head has been canceled.
What? Excuse me 1 second.
Forrest just did a legit spit take with his gin and tonic for those who aren't watching on YouTube.
Are you joking?
Yeah, so they are changing. There will be no more Mr. Potato Head. From now on, the potato head will be a gender-neutral potato head.
Wait, what? Wait,
come on.
This is real.
So they're getting rid of
do a third potato head? Why do they have to take
I agree,
rid of
right?
I'm all for gender equality and everything else, but why do we have to get rid of the classics? Why can't we just add a third one?
Well, men and women still exist in society, right?
Point.
What? I don't understand what's happening.
And I feel like we're just setting ourselves up to get canceled here. But also, as an experienced Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head player, you could make a boy-girl potato, a girl-boy potato, a pink shoe with a black shoe, with a mustache, with a girl's eyes. You could go any way you liked with it. They really were extremely, what's the word I'm looking for?
Versatile.
Yeah.
Fluid, versatile.
Yeah. So what?
Yeah, the Hasbro company has decided no more Mr. Potato Heads will be manufactured. They will be gender neutral moving forward.
Wow.
So there's that.
I think the only reason I have such a bad reaction to that is because there's so much childhood nostalgia about it. Like, I loved those as a kid. Like, it's nothing. I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to upset anybody. If that's the right choice so that it doesn't, hurt people's emotional state, good, but I just hate it because I loved my Mr. Potato Head.
Look at it this way: it's the
Me too. I might see if I can find one on eBay, dude. We should buy up like 1,000 Mr. Potato Heads and sell them on eBay.
That's it. I'll be back after the pod. No, but this is akin to coming out with a terrible remake of a classic movie. Like one that, because of the nostalgia factor. I mean, I'm not saying that it's a terrible toy or anything. All I'm saying is that, it's disappointing because the original, has a lot of emotional attachment to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to end up seeing, what do you do with G.I. Joe?
Right. And all those toys.
I think that's another Hasbro toy.
G.I. Joe, Barbie, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. I mean, they're all, all toys are like that.
Yeah. Well, if you think about Barbie, Ken was gender neutral, right? Because he didn't have a cock and balls. He just kind of had a...
I had a friend when I was a kid named we called him Genital Mound.
No, nope, not true.
Why?
Well, because his last name was Mound and he had genitals. Of course.
Yeah, you're a fucking liar. But enough about Mr. Potato Head. Forrest, what's going on this week, man? Well, let's address the elephant in the room. For those who only listen on iTunes, we do a real deep dive into this, like 20 plus minutes. Came out today on YouTube, so come to the Wild Times YouTube. But the elephant in the room, I think we should hit on it, is the Thylacine situation. The Tasmanian tiger has been all over the news. Give us a quick rundown.
Absolutely. So woke up morning of, I think it was February 22nd. This guy Neil from the Thylacine Awareness Group has this video of himself walking, through somewhere in Tasmania, going, guys, I've done it. I've got definitive proof of a thylacine, 3 images, a mom, a dad, and a pup. It's clear as day, or a joey, I guess. It's clear as day. It's complete. It's 100%. We've sent it to 7 different experts. Can't wait to release it March 1st. I was just so excited I couldn't wait, so I had to put out this video telling everybody that it was coming. My jaw literally hit the floor. I tweeted it. I was like, this is insane. Like, this is it. The thylacine's been found. They gone done it. And that all kind of spiraled out of control because that got picked up by a ton of news outlets. Nick Mooney was one of the experts that the images got sent to. 24 hours later, Nick Mooney, someone that I've worked with in Tasmania, who's a very credible biologist, probably the world's leading authority on thylacine, comes out and releases a statement via the Museum of Tasmania and says, don't believe it's a thylacine, think it was patty melon. Patty melon, of course, look nothing like thylacine. Will, if you can pull up a couple pictures of the two, people can check it out. Look nothing at all like thylacine. Neil fights back publicly on the internet saying that's only one expert's opinion. We've got 7 more that say that they are thylacine. No matter what you believe, hang on to your hats because we are publishing the photos on March 1st. You will get to see them for yourself, and I'm telling you, it is a thylacine. So that's what's going on. It's pretty wild. We may all be looking at thylacine photos in just a few days.
Yeah, so today actually is March 1st. The photos haven't been released as of the time of this recording, but tomorrow we will, so later on tonight, once the photos come out, we will jump on and do a photo analysis, so come to the YouTube. What is it, Peter?
The wildtimespodcast.com/YouTube. There'll be 2 breakdowns in detail about this entire saga, and then reactions to the photos. People are stoked on it, and obviously for good reason.
And we
how frequently are you going to be up refreshing your phone
the whole
for
night
us to see
the whole
what
night
photos
without any question. I won't sleep. I will drink 12 Red Bull and probably make myself sick and just wait to see what's going on. But we do a really deep dive over on the YouTube channel into this. We talk about ulterior motives, why someone would say that something is a thylacine when it isn't, why someone would say that it isn't a thylacine when it is for conservation purposes. We really kind of explore this whole topic. So instead of doing it all over here on the podcast, just go check that out. It's there's a lot of options if you think about it.
Yeah. Guys, real quick, before we move on, there's another elephant in the room that I don't think either of you are aware of. And it came across my desk the other day on Instagram. Will, I texted you separately. Could you bring up the picture of the elephant I'm speaking of? Might take a second to get it ready here. There was a men's health shoot that Forrest had done many, many moons ago, and the photos were never released. And it appears that one of the photos has been leaked.
Yeah,
and
it's beautiful.
I got my hands on it here. And speaking of elephants and potatoes, I don't know if Will can hear me, though. Will, are you there?
Wait, so Forrest's men's health cover was leaked. Was this one of those things where someone hacked into the men's health server?
Yeah, so we had a discussion with him about this, and he was like, I don't know, they just didn't want to do it. I guess I didn't look great. I thought I looked good. Remember, it was really, we didn't know what was going on. It was like a giant kind of conspiracy thing. And I think, a hacker, one of the Brosners must have gotten into their servers and found the draft of the men's health cover. And
these are the obsessive kind of brosners that we have. You know, they will hack the Men's Health system and just show me looking phenomenal. Now, I'm not familiar with this, but all I know is I look great regardless of the image.
Well, yeah, maybe we'll see it, maybe not. Let's move on to something else while we wait.
Your segment.
Well,
bombed.
I mean, it didn't bomb. I just don't know where the picture is, but it's probably because I texted it to him like a dum-dum, to be honest, and I should have emailed it.
Yeah, you got to email. Anytime I want to surprise you guys with something, I email it to Will. So
it's very smart because, as we know, people don't. You got to give people, including myself, just directly the shit to get it done. But anyways, that's coming up in the future. Stay tuned for that. We'll get back to it.
So, Forrest, now that Retep bombed what came across
seriously.
his desk, and I talked about Mr. Potato Head, what came across your desk this week?
Oh, man, there's a lot of good stuff in the news other than the Thylacine thing, and I think we can get into a lot of that. But before we do, I will say, you know, further to the point of our great fan base, our brosners, a couple great messages floating in on the social channels. One that really stood out for me, Alfie McGuire sent in a very simple, very elegant message, which simply says this: would you rather fight Clifford the dog or 101 Dalmatians? Which is a great question. I mean,
it's good.
It's really good. So I'm going to turn it
brilliant.
over to you guys. Retep, who'd you take?
Oh my God. So what did I do last time? I remember I took the fucking millipede and not the murder hornet to fight. This time, I just feel like, okay, I'm going to go against Clifford. I mean, is there something wrong with him? Because as I recall, he's a very friendly, just gentle giant. These Dalmatians are a nightmare. I mean, 100 of them, I mean, they're wild, like wild animals. I'm going Clifford for the win.
But Clifford is the size of a house, sir.
Yeah, but he's friendly. He'd probably let me ride him. He'd probably take me places. I could definitely feed him some cheese or something. I don't know.
So Clifford the Big Red Dog is a cartoon dog that there's a series of books about. I just Googled how tall is Clifford the dog, and someone did a full analysis based on his size relative to other things in the pictures. Clifford is 25 feet
And you're
tall.
going to fight that, Peter.
I am going to
befriend
fight Clifford.
Both of you. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. I've seen videos of like packs of wolves hunting. The way that they coordinate, they use their audibilizations to plan attacks. I mean, that's 5 or 6 wolves.
That's true.
101 Dalmatians? Fuck off! No way. I could find a way to get away from one 25-foot tall dog. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you're dead
Well,
either way.
I'm going to tell you why you're both wrong right here and right now. Because when I was a kid, playing with my Mr. Potato Head doll, I would sit in front of the Disney movie 101 Dalmatians. And for those that recall, there was only 2 adult Dalmatians in 101 Dalmatians. The rest was just a gaggle of puppies. So I'm literally just fighting off 2 average-sized dogs plus 98 pups. And I think I could manage that over
So
Clifford.
you're saying that you would rather...
That's brilliant. I didn't think of that.
You would rather legitimately murder several dozens of puppies rather than sacrifice yourself to a giant red dog.
Well, now you're making me look like an asshole, which is
I'm
not
not putting any
fair
spin
because
on
either
this.
way we're killing cartoon characters. So screw you, Retep.
Right.
And yes.
Okay, fair.
So a male Dalmatian can get up to about 70 pounds.
That's a big dog.
That's
So
pretty big.
first, Forrest, let's say there were 2, a male and a female Dalmatian, and 99 of their offspring that you're kicking and throwing and doing whatever else, because you have to in this scenario. Do you think you could fight off 2 70-pound Dalmatians?
No, but I definitely couldn't fight off one 25-foot dog either.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So quick trivia for you guys, because you guys know I love
Yes.
stats. All right. This is very congruent to what we're doing. I have a list of the top 6 dogs that are responsible for fatal attacks on humans of domestic dog breeds in the U.S. Okay, so which dog breeds kill the most humans over the course of 10 years in the U.S. from 2010 to 2020?
God.
I'm gonna we're just gonna go Roto. Peter's gonna guess, then Forrest.
All right,
gonna guess.
we're starting at the
Let's see what
top.
you
The
got.
6. What's the top?
Well, just what do you?
The number
Just
one.
lay out 6
Yes, top
dogs.
Oh, 6
Retep.
dogs.
No, you just lay out 6,
See
right?
what you
All right.
get. No,
Okay,
just
I'll
guess
guess one.
What's on the list?
My sixth pick is going to be chows.
Wow, that is a rare dog, and yes, that is number 5 on the list.
vicious.
Is the chow?
Way to go, Retep. Not
vicious.
something I was going to guess.
They're fucking vicious, dude.
I've never
No, I
interacted
don't
with
believe I
one.
have either.
Okay, Retep's got a lot of experience with
Apparently,
chows. All right, Forrest. So that's one. Good guess, Retep.
Well,
What do you got?
there's the obvious, but I'm just going to go with the fact that you brought this up while I'm sure you were Googling Dalmatians, so I'm going to go Dalmatians.
That is correct. That is number 6.
Wow.
Dalmatians, which we see as this cuddly dog that likes to eat spaghetti, and
Lives at a firehouse.
they are the 6th most deadly dog in America. They're very
They are,
popular,
yeah.
right? So
They're
that's part of the reason why.
beautiful dogs, man. Somebody brought one into like an outdoor tavern I was at many months ago. And dude, it was like well behaved, and this thing was like majestic, just a handsome motherfucking
They
dog.
are beautiful. They're beautiful animals.
Yeah, they're cool
My
looking
uncle
dogs.
had two.
That movie was responsible. I don't have the stat in front of me, but like there was like a 15 times increase in the popularity of Dalmatians.
Oh,
after
I'm
the
sure.
movie.
I can
perfect
see
sense.
that. Every kid in the world, including me who lived in Africa, was like, we should get a Dalmatian now.
Yeah, you're right. We'll feed it meatballs. All right, Retep, quick.
Number 2,
Another guess.
well, I'm going to go. I don't want to villainize this dog, and I don't agree with the way that it is, but
Just say it.
I'm going to go with a pit bull somewhere on that list.
Gotta be. It's gotta be.
Yeah, that's correct. That's
Yep.
number 1.
It is?
Of course, we
I
all
didn't know
agree.
that.
Yeah,
It's not villainizing. These are stats. We're just taking
No, yeah,
guesses
I
based on
honestly didn't think it
statistics.
would be number 1. I thought there was going to be like a shocker. I thought that was like just a theory. I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're commonly mistreated, right? People get pit bulls because it's going to be a guard dog. They don't train it. They make them fight. Yeah, I mean, there's we have tons of friends that have awesome
Exactly.
pit bulls. It's
Right,
not villainizing the dog. It's just
Nature,
a fact.
nurture.
All right, so we got 3. Haven't missed one yet.
Also,
Forrest,
why
go.
are you villainizing? Why are you worried about villainizing a pit bull and not a German Shepherd or a Chow? Or sorry, what did I say before? A Dalmatian or a Chow? My next guess is German Shepherd.
Correct. That is, in fact, number 2.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that is number 2.
Same kind of thing.
Ahead of what I thought was going to be number 2. You guys haven't missed yet. If you guys get the whole list, I'm going to send you both a gift card to
Ooh.
Taco Bell.
What?
$25 each.
Now I'm going to
Retep,
take
you're up.
25 minutes to fucking
we're
think
at
about
4?
this.
We're 4 for 4 right now.
I can tell if you're Googling. Yeah, I can tell. Are you Googling,
No, definitely
Retep?
not. Look at my fucking drinking wine over here, mate.
All right,
Wait,
go quick.
I wanted to address. I am not villainizing fucking.
Just shut up. It doesn't matter. I'm just
I
giving you a
am,
hard time.
however, villainizing chows because fuck chows. Okay.
Okay.
So, all right. Last one. I'm gonna go with fucking Nikita.
Incorrect. That's ludicrous. They're not popular enough.
What the fuck?
Forrest, you're
Chows
up.
aren't popular. Never even seen one.
I've never seen one either.
He's shut
Not
up.
yet.
yeah.
Not yet.
Let's see. We got German Shepherd, Pit Bull, Chow, Dalmatian. It's got to be a big dog.
Oh,
Gotta be
here,
an
come on,
aggressive
Forrest. Come
dog.
on, Forrest. Now you know what I deal with. Forrest, come on, quick. Stop thinking. Stop. Just go,
Not
go.
allowed to think. Man, I don't want to say this because they're one of my favorite dogs, and I had literally 14 of them growing up. But I also know how tough they can be. Rhodesian Ridgebacks.
No, that's a great guess. They're obviously super badass.
I hate you two
but I don't,
much. I'm sorry.
I don't think they're popular
Look,
enough.
he's just kissing your ass. My guess, I get
We both
skewered
like the
from both
dog.
ends, and he's just like,
We both like
What a
Rhodesian
great
Ridgebacks.
guess.
They were bred to hunt
What a
lions.
great
I mean,
guess.
they're a cool
Okay.
dog. All right, so number 3 is the Rottweiler,
That's such a fun, obvious one. Yeah.
and number 4 is the real shocker.
Chihuahua.
Chihuahua.
This is it's. No, I mean I've met 1,000 of these, and I've never met one that did anything but want to lick and
Golden
get
Retriever.
treats. Labrador Retriever, a lab.
That is a fucking
See,
shocker.
that's a statistic because they're just so popular. Like you can't ever go
Exactly,
outside and
yeah.
not see one, right? So
They're
it's
great.
like even
Right.
if there's only one shitty one out of every 1,000, there's so many of them that statistically speaking.
Oh, and
Right,
I'm
I
drunk.
think.
Fuck you guys.
No, I am
sorry.
drunk.
This
Let's be
segment
clear,
has made
I am
me
drunk.
very
Did you not see
angry.
me spit my gin and tonic out all over my keyboard earlier? I now have to buy a new keyboard over this podcast.
Well, listen, Forrest, you and me are
But let me
Yeah.
just say this. There's only 16 fatal dog attacks in the U.S. each year.
Really?
When there are obviously hundreds of millions probably of dogs.
Oh, for sure.
I like
So
that.
very, very
Yeah.
rare. And 4.7 million dog bites
Wow.
per year that require a trip to the doctor or hospital. So, you know, 99.9999% of dogs are awesome and
Yeah.
aren't going to kill you. Then every once in a while,
Well, those
they'll kill you.
4.7 million dog bites are likely 90% because the human's an idiot. Just saying.
Of
So
course.
my family, as everybody knows, from Zimbabwe, right? Everybody in Zimbabwe that lives out of town has Rhodesian ridgebacks. Hence, Rhodesia. It's the former name of the country of Zimbabwe. Blah blah blah. Everybody has them. It's like Labrador retrievers here. So my mom growing up had ridgebacks, and then me when we were growing up on the farm, different from where my mom grew up, we had ridgebacks. So our ridgebacks were great. We had 14 of them at one time, and that waxed and waned. They were guard dogs. They'd run around the property.
Will, can you pull up a picture of a Rhodesian ridgeback for people who haven't
They're
seen
awesome.
one?
I mean, we had Meanie and Farah and all these super cool dogs. Cherezi was our best dog. But anyway, so we loved all these dogs. We never had a problem with them. Nobody ever got bitten. They were great. But my grandmother, at her house, she also had Rhodesian ridgebacks. That's where the initial pups came from. And how do I say this nicely? My grandmother didn't give a shit, and she still doesn't. She's a crazy old lady. And so she's
still alive?
She's still alive. My grandpa's gone. My grandma's still here. She's 98. She still drives to the store. She still throws a 50-pound bag of birdseed on her shoulder.
No.
Yeah. The other day, maybe 2 weeks
crazy.
ago now, she's 98 years old. I went over to her house. As I pull in her driveway, she's standing on the very top rung of a ladder on the roof, trying to fix her drain pipe. She's 98 years old. I'm like, Grandma, she's
My
nuts.
God.
But not to mention she's from Africa. She's racist. She's crazy. She's like every old person.
She needs to be an Instagram influencer and start videoing herself doing these crazy things at 98.
Dude.
Yeah, I don't. If my math is correct, she was born before Columbus discovered America.
Accurate. But anyway, with explaining about my grandma and how eccentric she is, I love her to death. She's an amazing person. But she had these 4 dogs at her place, and their place, we lived on a big farm. She lived on 10 acres or something. everybody lives on big property in Africa. And she had these 4 ridgebacks. Well, one time we got to her gate, and from the gate to her house was maybe 5-minute walk, right? We got to the gate, and the power was out, as it often is in Zimbabwe. So I said to my mom, who was driving, I said, my sister and I will go and get Grandma to open the gate. You can just wait in the car. And I think my mom was on her phone or whatever, and she was like, yeah, go. So my sister and I hop over the fence and start running up the driveway to my grandma and grandpa's house. And I was probably 8. My sister was 6 at this point in time. All I remember is just a flash, and these dogs just come charging out from her house right down towards us. And my sister's, I'm yelling stop at the dogs because I don't know, that's what I've been taught. And but my sister turns and runs, and we've talked about this on the pod before. Instantly, initiates that predatory response from the ridgebacks. They're intruder. My sister's 6 years old, so she's not fucking outrunning a ridgeback. An adult man isn't outrunning a ridgeback. So
Right.
So anyway, the dogs just charge by. Some of them stop and growl at me, but one of them, and I don't remember my grandma's dog's names, runs right by me, pounces on my sister, and just takes a big old meaty bite right out of her butt.
Wow.
And the dog kind of let go immediately. But there was blood everywhere.
Jeez.
And I sprinted to my grandma's house. The dogs kind of were oops, we made a mistake. When a dog switches back off.
Yeah.
Sprinted to my grandma's house, got my grandma and grandpa. They came down. The gardener was there. He scooped up my sister. She was screaming. She was in tears. Ran to the ER. She had it was lucky that they didn't rip, which they do. It just bit and let go. But she had 8 or 9, I don't even remember, huge puncture holes in her rump, in her butt, that all had to get cleaned out and stitched up with these single little stitches. And it was pretty gnarly.
So let me ask you a question. Obviously, I mean, we've heard stories of you and just crazy shit that has happened to you. Where you were on that motorcycle, you got bit by a snake, you almost died, basically, the hippo thing. Is that her there? Is that the most, is that her biggest story where she almost died? was from your grandmother's own dogs?
Well, my sister, I think that was the day my sister decided she was going to work in fashion. So yeah, probably. Yeah.
Nice.
No, she works in.
Whereas Forrest looked at it and was like, nature is.
Yeah.
She got all the amygdala in the family.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I won't speak for her. I'm sure she's had a couple other close-ish calls, but she was definitely very traumatized by that. She was like scared to go to my grandparents' house after that.
Guys, Will, hold on.
That's pretty gnarly.
Will just hit me up. So there was a technical difficulty with that picture, but he's got it now. It seems that he couldn't fit it onto the screen. It was too big, but
It must be my pecs.
He's got it ready now.
Yeah,
and
so.
Will, if you could you bring up that Men's Health picture? And if this bombs again, I'm literally quitting the podcast. I won't be back.
Please.
After this.
Yeah.
I swear to God, he promised me. I think he's trying to sabotage me at this point. He promised me it was ready. He said he'd keep an eye. Forrest, can you just do us a favor real quick? Stand up and take your shirt off while we wait, please. We'd like to have a... No.
Are you being serious? I don't know.
I need a stall here. Take your shirt off. Let's see. Come on. Everyone wants to see it.
This is going to be known as the episode where Retep's final episode.
This is also
100%.
sexual harassment, by the way. I just want to point that out.
It is.
Oh, wait, no. Oh, my God. Yeah, we have a before. We have a before and an after now. This is great. So,
all right.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Break it down
Look at
for
that.
us,
What are you
Papa.
talking about?
Papa
That is Eric Cartman definition beefcake on that cover of Men's Health.
what's up? I love that you're holding a tiny pina colada. Or are you just that big that it looks tiny?
It's both. It is a...
By the way, were you
made
just
this?
flexing your pecs in real time?
No, but I can. Looks
Oh,
good.
my God. I
No,
love it.
dude, this is phenomenal. So I haven't actually seen this yet. Whoever made this is brilliant. I wish they'd spelt my name correctly, because then I'd actually post this and say this is me. But man, this is huge. Big fan of this Men's Health cover. Thank you, Men's Health.
It is literally quite huge. I believe it was Brosner Jonathan Parastatsky who clearly photoshopped. And here's how I know it was photoshopped. Well, first of all, Forrest's face is pallid, and yet his body is the color of a langosta.
Today, Pat. Sorry.
Yeah. Also, the way he's holding the snake is just a bit strange. But then it's really the pina colada, because I know that Forrest would never opt for a pina colada that small. That's just like a teaser
It's not
pina
fair.
colada.
It's like an appetizer.
It's an appetizer.
That's like what they would do at the tray pass at a wedding, where you're like, yeah, I'd eat a whole one of these.
I mean,
Is the glass edible, or what's the situation here?
I'm curious why they didn't release this. I mean, if this is, they
I
did a
don't
whole
get
photo
it.
shoot.
I mean,
Now, that said, yeah.
Well, I was
go
just
ahead,
going to
Forrest.
say, it's 2021. We're done body shaming. I look phenomenal. I do. I look great in that image. I don't think it's photoshopped. I don't know what Patrick's talking about. I think that's the real deal.
By the way, sorry, go ahead.
I think maybe
up.
it's the two-tone thing. It's the two-tone thing. They just couldn't put it out with the pale face and the tomato red body.
The thing is, I'm very conscious of skin cancer, so I put my head in a paper bag, and then I lay in a tanning bed for 3 straight days ahead of the shoot. So that's the result.
Excellent.
So, by the way, when you go on a vacation, right? You're if you're staying at a hotel or resort, or Retep and I famously did a 3-day cruise, which was so much fun. But when you're in a place for a few days and you're going to hang out at the pool, whatever. I'm always looking for the guy who looks like this, right? Which is 25 pounds overweight, but got some muscle, big smile, holding the drink. I want to be friends with this guy. So you're looking for me, right? Yeah, because he doesn't take himself too seriously. He's going to be a good time. He's going to be down if you're like, should we just order some nachos while we're
definitely
going to
say yes.
Yeah, let's get 2.
You're describing me, and I'm down with all those things.
All jokes aside, the definition of this picture is jovial. That is a jovial man. That is someone you want to hang out with. And, frankly, it's like looking into a futuristic mirror. Small pina colada, great dad bod, big snake, awesome tan, nice hair still. I'm in.
Still trying to work out, but struggling. Maybe going once a week to the gym now.
No. I'm still lifting aggressively. You can see there's muscle under
Yes,
there.
that's what I was going to say.
I just
because
eat
here's the
everything
thing.
in my I'm like a caterpillar.
Yeah, see, our Brosner, and thank you for doing this, Jonathan.
Great.
What he did was he picked a body that you could call that a dad bod because the guy has a gut, right? But this is proof that if you at least just hit the bench press once or twice a week, you still look pretty much fine with your shirt off.
I'm for it.
It masks the gut. Yeah, dude.
I'm for it.
Yeah, I'm for it too. And Forrest, I think you should reschedule another photo shoot because it looks like you lost a good 30 to 45 pounds. You're looking
I think
good now.
more than that based on that photo.
Yeah, more than that. All right, well, Forrest, I've been wanting to talk to you about this all week here. So Will, Wild Times Willie on the show doc posted an amazing video. I took a few vacations when I was a kid, right? We didn't have a lot of money. We lived in Oswego, New York. We usually would go places we could drive. And we would often go to Cape Cod. That would be like our one trip for the summer. And my mom would always take me on a whale watch. And I fucking loved it. I mean, it's, having never seen a whale before, just the opportunity to actually be like 15, 20 feet away from something so big, it's really fucking cool. But some people were on a whale watch just recently here. And they captured video. So this is off the coast of Australia. A huge pod of 15 orca whales.
Ooh, I know where this is going. Yeah.
Was attacking a humpback whale during a gruesome 4-hour battle that the Whale Watch came upon during the middle of their trip. Will's going to pull up some video of it here on YouTube. I didn't know that this was something that happened in nature. I mean, I produced a show called Whale Wars for 7 years.
And at no point did the whales go to war in the show.
No, and we filmed nothing but humpback whales, occasionally a fin whale, and pods of orcas just as B-roll.
Right. Yeah.
I had no idea they predated on humpbacks.
Dude, so the same exact thing happened right here in Santa Barbara about 4 or 5 years ago, right as the boat was leaving the harbor, and it was a gray whale and not a humpback. And there's video of this little kid just screaming, and then the water just turns blood red under the boat. It's so brutal. So imagine being you, Patrick. Imagine being 12-year-old you on your whale watching trip, and all of a sudden you see this, and the water just turns blood red under the boat.
It's terrible.
Good God.
I mean,
12-year-old me had a Walkman listening to the Vanilla Ice tape. So I probably would have been like kind of into it, but
you're also a sociopath.
Good God, this happens?
Yeah. No, they're gnarly, man. I mean, the Indian word, Native American word in the Pacific Northwest for orcas is wolves of the sea, and I don't know exactly what the word is, but it translates to wolves of the sea. And they have absolutely earned that nickname. I mean, what you're looking at is the equivalent of a pack of wolves taking down a big elk. It's a bunch of smaller, more intelligent, more ferocious animals taking down a larger one that when you think, oh, could that happen? You kind of think, no, it's not possible. And then look at it. I mean, this footage is incredible. I haven't seen this before.
They're called killer whales, right? That's what an orca is, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Now, you really don't think about that.
Now, is this typical, or do you think that when you see a pod of orcas attacking a humpback, that means that they're in a place they wouldn't normally be, and so there's not enough seals? Were they desperate, or is this just normal, run-of-the-mill, hey, we're going to go to the buffet?
Great question. So really, really interesting. Orcas live in subsects based on their diet. So there are stingray-eating orcas, there are fish-eating orcas, there are seal-eating orcas, and they will venture and they will branch and they will change, but typically speaking, and there's an awesome book called Listening to Whales, and I can't remember the author's name, but she writes an incredible book about learning from orcas in the Pacific Northwest. But basically, your resident orcas in most places are harmless fish-eating, stingray-eating orcas. But then your pelagic, your transient orcas are like these badass biker gang that roll into town, fuck shit up, and then keep going. And I'm guessing what's going on here, and I don't know. You said this is off the coast of Australia.
Yeah.
This is not a resident population. This is one of these transient populations of orcas that like rolled into town, like flexing on everybody. Everybody else is taken off, and they are a group of orcas that choose to eat large marine mammals like whales. And there are orcas that specialize in eating great white sharks. There are orcas that specialize in eating humpback whales. There are orcas that specialize in eating gray whales. There are orcas that specialize in eating California sea lions. And they all have their own language, and they don't interbreed. It's the craziest thing.
Dude,
so you'll go out and
nuts.
It's nuts. So you'll go out right there in Australia, right here in Santa Barbara, and you'll see 2 pods of orca. I mean, that's very rare in Santa Barbara, but you'll see them. One will be specially stingray-eating orcas. They speak their own language. When the seal or sea lion eating orcas roll into town, they won't talk to each other. They won't go near each other. They won't intermix. They speak literally 2 different languages, eat 2 different things. I mean, it's like if you go to Australia. Well, no, we both speak English, but it's like if you go to South America or China or something. It's like we're both humans, but like we don't eat the same things. We don't say the same things.
Yeah.
Like it's like we're the same species, but we're different. It's crazy.
It's very human-like behavior. They're smart, though. I mean, right? They have big brains as far as animals go, and they're displaying behavior that we display. That's fascinating.
No, they're so interesting. They're arguably the smartest mammal in the world. Arguably, there's just no way to really measure it. We still haven't figured out their language. I mean, they're incredible animals. They're just, and this is, you can just imagine the kids just crying on this. I mean, I would be in awe watching this, but I'd also feel sad to see a humpback get torn to shreds.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy behavior, man. I mean, I remember 4 or 5 years ago, and Patrick, you probably know this. Retep, you probably even know this as a consumer. Where did every single great white shark show take place during Shark Week? Do you remember?
Is it, I don't know, Australia?
South Africa, Seal Island, South Africa, where the great white sharks come out of the air. They hit that very famous, shark comes leaping out of the air, eats the seal, hits the water. 4 or 5 years ago, I don't really remember, orcas rolled into town, wiped out the white sharks. They just a fucking badass group of orcas came into town, killed and ate all of the great white sharks. They haven't been able to film a Shark Week there in like 5 years.
I did not know that, and we've done 2 Shark Weeks together.
But we've never done great whites.
I had no idea that orcas came in and just smashed the great whites that were living in that area.
Treated them like just bitches.
Shit.
Like just came in, punked every single one of them. That whole like shark dive, there's a big shark diving industry there. There was, the Shark Weeks were filmed there. Everything just all collapsed. The sharks are gone. I think they're starting to show up again now. I think there's like 1 or 2 back. But for like 4 or 5 years, there wasn't a single great white shark at Seal Island, South Africa. Yeah.
What? Dude, that is bonkers. I had no idea.
The whole thing is bonkers. I've literally learned more, I think, in that little spiel than I've learned in 47 episodes. And it's fascinating, dude.
So really, the pelagic orcas are like, when you describe them as like the biker gangs, it's like they really are like much scarier because they don't have a single source of food. They're completely unpredictable. They'll just go after whatever.
Exactly, and it's one of the reasons. So like guys like Mark Romanoff, who works for Patrick and I sometimes, and these other guys, like they know which orcas to dive in, and you see all these beautiful orca shots and them eating stingrays and stuff. You get the wrong orca. It hasn't happened yet, but like if you jump in with the wrong orca, I'm sure if you jumped in with the orcas that were mobbing great white sharks, you'd be in trouble.
Dude, producer Will just texted the group and said that supposedly the humpback survived, according to the story, which is fucking incredible.
According to the story, it did, but there's also a shot that has its dorsal fins gone. So I don't know how long could a humpback survive for a long period of time without a dorsal fin?
Well, the dorsal fin controls the pitch and roll, right? It's what keeps the animal upright. So is it yaw and roll? I don't remember. But it's what keeps the animal upright. So if they lose that, I saw the chomp. It's probably going to take a lot of energy and difficulty for that animal to continue on. So maybe it survived in the short term, but
it's time for a whale fall.
Maybe it didn't. I mean, they've got very small little dorsal fins anyway, so maybe it's not that important. It's not like they're a sailfish, so I don't really know.
Interesting either way, though.
Yeah. Well, orcas are insane. As you can hear, I definitely have a big fascination with them. I think they're like beyond, our comprehension of their intelligence. It's like we barely scratch the surface. I mean, they're like sentient beings. They're incredible.
And just huge. It's crazy to think that something that big is that smart. It's kind of scary. If they were on land, we'd be fucked.
Yeah, totally. So speaking of incredible ocean news, there was something else that came across my recently purchased compressed plywood desk.
I gotta start looking up fucking types of wood.
So I got sent this by like at least 150 people on Instagram all over the place. It was super cool. A Belgian wildlife photographer was in Antarctica and snapped a picture of an incredible looking leucistic king penguin. Now, king penguins, we've all seen them on Blue Planet, Planet Earth, whatever. You all know what they look like. Will's gonna pull up a picture here. This leucistic one, do you know what leucism is, Retep?
Of course not.
Melanism is when you have too much pigment in your skin, so that's when you get black panthers and black leopards. Leucism is the opposite. It's not quite albinism. You're not an albino, but you don't have the pigment. Now imagine that in a penguin. So guess what color? So black doesn't turn to white. That would be albinism, right? Black turns to yellow. So you remove the pigment without having absolutely no ability to make any pigment.
Wow.
And so Will's going to pull up a picture here, but this king penguin is one of the craziest looking penguins ever. And honestly,
oh wow,
look at how beautiful it is.
Look at
that. It's like, it looks like a rare jewel. I mean, what an insane thing. And what's so interesting about this, sorry, I know I'm getting really excited tonight. I've had too much to drink. What's so interesting about this is that typically an animal like this wouldn't make it to adulthood, right? If you will pull up the other picture from the article, please. If you see this animal in a flock, it stands out like a sore thumb, right? So if you're a hungry leopard seal or a bird, whatever, something that eats penguins, you're like, well, that's an easy meal. But this guy has somehow made it to full-on adulthood and is just living happily without any issues among all the normal-looking king penguins. And what that means is he's likely to pass on his genetic trait. It's the same as there you go, standing next to a normal one. He's likely to pass on that genetic trait, he or she. So if that animal reproduces slowly over time, maybe 1 of 4 of its offspring will have leucism, you'll end up with this population of these white-yellow penguins. It's like crazy. What we've done in the pet trade. Yeah, isn't that wild?
It's funny because when you see the photo of this penguin, so everything that would normally be black on the penguin is bright yellow. When you see it in the water, you would have to me, it doesn't look like a penguin at all. You see it kind of standing up next to another penguin, you're like, oh, it just looks like it got peed on.
Totally.
It's interesting, too, because the feet are like normal kind of bird-colored. And
he's got
like regular
feet.
Colored feet. Whereas on the normal penguin, they're completely black.
No, yeah, I think it's so cool to see something like this. I mean, anytime something like this hits, remember when there was that albino giraffe that floated around a few years ago?
Maybe or blue dogs, which we talked about in the last podcast.
Yeah. I mean, these things are awesome. I think it's so interesting. I much prefer it when it's out of a genetic mutation in nature than a chemical lab in Russia making styrofoam or whatever it was. But I don't know. I just think this bird's incredible.
The photographer who discovered this penguin on the island of South Georgia, he's describing the interaction, and he said there's all this chaos going on, and you've got king penguins everywhere, and it was in the middle of you had like Antarctic fur seals, and like there was chaos going on where like seals were attacking other penguins. And he says that this leucistic yellow penguin just walked right up to him and was curious about what he was doing. So maybe the fact, now this is probably a little bit of a reach, but like, how like in like 8th grade, there's like kids that are just a little weird. Do you think that because this penguin's yellow and not black, that like maybe he gets treated differently and he's just kind of like the oddball? Like he just like, the other penguins were ignoring the photographer, and this one was like, I'm going to go see what's going on.
Right. Is he the doofusy one that somehow has that like Forrest Gump syndrome where he always lands with his butt in the butter, where things always just go well for him no matter what? It's a good question. that's an anthropomorphization that there's no way that we could ever test for it. We could never know. They could totally have that within their social structure. Like penguins have pretty interesting social structures, and we just never know. We never know if he's a nerd or a jock or a weirdo or the coolest guy in school because he looks different, or like we have no idea.
I think he's one of the cool ones, man. He's the aloof guy who doesn't give a shit about anybody else. He's just like, what's up? What's this guy doing? I want to learn about new things. I'm curious. What is that in your hand there? Take a picture of me. And then all of a sudden he's posing.
Yeah, exactly. It is a good pose. Well, I saw something that I think Retep is going to really like. I mean, with the orcas, I was like,
Taco Bell burrito.
Forrest says.
All right, go ahead.
No, it was your second favorite topic. The octopus.
Oh, yes.
So, researchers in Israel have recently discovered, we've talked a lot about the alien properties of octopus and how interesting they are.
They change color.
So I hate to beat a dead horse.
In darkness.
But this is new. Yeah. They have discovered, because they were trying to study how octopus are so adept at changing the color of their skin, right? And they've seen certain anomalies where they can change the color of their skin. Certain cephalopods can in the complete absence of light when they change the background.
Fascinating.
And so they're trying to figure it out. And so they did a series of tests and have determined that the octopus can indeed sense light changes through their skin without the eyes at all, definitively.
Wow.
So the skin itself can determine what's changing, and the way they did it, I don't know the exact methodology, but I don't think they blindfolded them, but essentially they would like use a direct beam of light or a direct source to like hit one arm, and Will's pulled up a video here. Oh, there we go. So only the arm is out and the eyes are not. But if they hit like one particular arm with a light, that arm will sense it and tell the rest of the animal.
Change color.
This is the craziest fucking thing I've ever heard of in my life. Are you kidding me? So this thing can, they don't even know why. Like this is just a property unknown to man. And it can and we eat them. Sorry, I'm just saying.
A lot.
And they're really tasty.
They really are.
I hate it, but they're smart.
So is this how now, does a chameleon do this, or do they have to sense the light with their eyes?
So chameleons, I thought cuttlefish and octopus were proven to have this as well, but I know that it's in the case with chameleons, and I thought cuttlefish have something called intelligent chromatophores. And what that means is, the chromatophore is a cell in your skin that is able to detect light. And so this term intelligent chromatophore basically means that the cells in your skin themselves are able to detect light. Now, what's, I think, different about this versus... So let me explain that. So the way an intelligent chromatophore works is the chameleon can put his foot down on a blade of grass or a leaf, and the body will begin to adapt to change colors to come close to matching that without his eye looking at it and going, hey, that's the color I need to be. They don't need to do that. It's just a matter of basically I'm blending in with my environment. As I go, my skin is matching the right light pigments based on little clusters of crystals in my cells called intelligent chromatophores. That's intelligent chromatophores. Now, what's different between that and I think what we're seeing here, and I haven't read the study, but what I think they're going to say is that this octopus is not just... It's not just intelligent chromatophores that are making the octopus change the color of its skin without its brain realizing it. Its brain is clearly realizing it because its arm is retreating from the light and changing direction. Do you know what I mean? So there's a signal being sent to the animal's brain to inform it that light is there. And you can see that when the light hits it, the way it retracts. Versus if you did that to a chameleon with a blindfold on, the chameleon would just start getting lighter and keep munching on insects or going about its day. Do you know what I mean? Like the skin would just react and the animal would be none the wiser. Whereas this is showing that the animal is actually wise to the fact that the light is hitting its arm. So something in the skin, and I'm sure they did this in the study, it's probably not heat, it's probably just light, is actually sending a signal to the creature's physical brain to say, hey, stay away, this is bad. And that's pretty interesting.
Well, and they have the ganglion or whatever, basically brains in the tentacles or neurons. It's all one connected thing in their tentacles. So they don't have like a centralized brain. So it would make sense that there's more going on these tentacles than just suckers and brain cells. We also have photon detecting smart neurons or whatever the fuck he said. Sorry, drinking.
It's funny how we learn so much about the animal kingdom and sort of discover these powers that we sort of don't really get, and we're kind of theorizing because we can't ask them how it's working. But yet we've really, when it comes to humans having any sort of sixth sense or ability to connect, or science is very pessimistic that we've got it.
Because we haven't been able to detect that, and if you do believe, and it's funny because I fall on the science side of this, but if you do believe in like energies or connectivity or chakras, you're some new age hippie, it's like, our energies, it's like, that's how that is viewed in our society, as opposed to like some kind of open-mindedness to just being like, wow, maybe there is more to our sensing abilities. Like maybe there are 6 senses and not 5.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Forrest. Having been on sort of the academic side and done some, been part of research studies and stuff like that, picture this scenario, right? I'm a kid. I say kid because I'm old, but I'm let's say a PhD grad student, right? And I want to write my thesis, or I'm whatever. I'm working at a university, and I want to look into that, right? I go, you know what, like, this is understudied because we shit on it. We take the pessimistic scientific view that humans could have a sixth sense. Like, I want to design a study. Let me try and get funding for it. How's that going to go
poorly?
For me?
Very poorly.
Why?
Because, well, I had to think about it for a second. And I think that, I will say this. I will say that universities and academic institutions are becoming more open-minded. Like, there are more grants, and all the time I read a paper or I see a grant or something, I'm like, why? Like, you should not have given that person money. Like, don't, bad, wrong. And this is probably that paper to me. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, on the flip side of that, if you don't do that, you never get anywhere. So it's a balance. And I do think institutions are becoming more open-minded to things like that. But at the end of the day, if you're a tenured professor and your grad student comes up to you and says, hey, far out, man, I want to do this thing about, the third eye and feel your energy chakras.
But why does he have to talk like that? Why couldn't he just be like, have a really well-presented plan?
This is my hypothesis as to how it would go.
All right.
And, regardless of whether he talks like that or not, the tenured professor of, biology, brain surgery, whatever it is probably just going to be like, no, I'm not going to support that because you're not going to find anything, that we've proven time and time again, we don't have an organ that's capable of sensing anything, no, I'm not going to sign off on that. I'm not going to put my stamp on that. And therefore you're not going to get financed for it.
Here's what I don't like about today's society versus the society of
yesteryear.
Back in the day, when you were like an educated person, you had a well-rounded education in multiple different areas of expertise. So you would know about philosophy, you would know about physics, you would know about science. So you had this. You had much more of an ability to understand things from various angles, and then I feel like as we've gotten, as society has evolved, not even just in education, but in everything, we've gotten compartmentalized into these subsections of it, and now when you do that, you kind of push everything else out because you're just focusing on this one way of looking at things when there's definitely a lot more out there. And this is coming from a guy with a PhD in drinking. Cheers.
Yeah.
I agree with your. Well, I agree very much with what you're saying. We've become, and I don't think it's in today's society or today's culture. I think it's here in the United States that we have kind of become, education means being highly specialized in one field. And I'm a prime example. Like I can sit here and talk about animals all day long, and you're like, hey, how do you change a light bulb? What's going on in the stock market? Like, are you literate? And I'm like, it's, I'm a prime example of this, but
everybody is, I feel like.
Yeah, but we've pushed this agenda of being like, in order to be successful, you have to be highly, highly specialized. In order to be highly specialized, you have to only focus on that topic. And that's definitely become a thing. When I was growing up in Zimbabwe, which is a different time and place, like, we had to take sport. We had to take choir. You had to take debate. You had to take chess. Like, these weren't electives. These weren't things that you could choose to do. There wasn't a single kid that was allowed to not do sport. And I'm not talking about PE goof off in your, oversized baggy shorts.
Dodgeball.
I'm talking about 2.5 hours of training every single day that we had to do. Yeah. Had to go to choir. My voice at age 13 was heinous. My voice today is heinous. Like, it was disgusting. But I had to go to choir practice 3 days a week or whatever it was. And the idea was, with that old British boarding school system, was to make you a well-rounded, educated person, and that included all of these things. That included an education in sport and an education in singing and instrument and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think we've gone too far in one way. And there's a really good study, and I forget who put it. Man, I'm going to butcher all of this. But basically, they took, like, Tiger Woods, and I want to say Roger Federer, right? Two guys at the absolute top of their game. Tiger Woods, best golfer in the world. Roger Federer, best tennis player at this time, right? And they side by side, they, like, looked at how they grew up. Maybe it was the Williams sisters. I can't really remember. But it was a tennis pro and a golf pro.
Yeah,
and
golf.
Basically, what the study showed, the point of the study was to show that they did a big case study. They took all these professional athletes, and athletes that specialized early were less likely to become professional athletes in their sport than athletes that tried a whole lot of different sports and found the one they loved and later on in life, and then continued to pursue it. And this was like this, it was shocking because everybody was like, look at China in the Olympics with gymnastics, and, look at the golf pros here. And it's like, you have to start at age 6 and, like, hammer that sport all day, every day. And that's the only way you become a pro. And this study just absolutely blew that notion up, where it's like, that's the opposite of that. The more you do that, the less likely you are to become a pro in a sport. Man, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. A prime example of this too is you guys are talking about in the scientific community. I guess with doctors, this is such a thing. I mean, you go to a doctor, and don't get me wrong, like, if I have cancer or something, I'm going to the fucking best cancer doctor who knows specifically how to deal with that, But if you're dealing with something that is maybe like here's a good example, is tinnitus, right? Like, if you're dealing with something that they don't know about, or like they just don't know, they literally will just they have no idea, but they'll act like they're giving you the correct and, like, most accurate answer to what to do about it, when really they don't know, but they won't admit that they don't know. And it's like, it's that fucked up weird thing that we've talked about before. It's like human psychology, especially with, like, these guys. It's like they don't want to ever admit that they don't have every fucking answer to everything. So they won't even give you anything that's outside of the textbook that they read or that they learned, which might be the path to put you on to something else. I mean, it's not fucking this Sixth Sense stuff, but I mean, it's the same idea when it comes to this. I mean, this one track way of thinking, I think is somewhat of a hindrance to humanity in a lot of ways. Not the cancer fighting
part of that
ways,
is just,
but, like, other ways.
Part of that is how litigious the society is, right? If you walked into a doctor and they gave you some treatment that wasn't, widely considered to be effective and passed through many, many years of testing, even if there was a chance that was the only thing that would help you, if it fucked you up, you went in for tinnitus and they were like, look, there's this thing that this guy's trying in China and we could try it. They did it, and then you lost hearing. They would be probably sued and possibly go to jail.
So what's the answer to this? And not just in that sense, but in the scientific community, what's the answer to fighting this stall of advancement based on? And like Forrest said, I mean, maybe it's not as bad in other countries. I'm not sure. Like, U.S. is very litigious. I mean, maybe in other countries they're making better advancements because of the lack of this. I don't really know.
I'll tell you what I think the answer is, and if any one of my colleagues that I've ever worked with hears this, they're gonna just fucking shit, and I'm never gonna work with me again. But I'll say it anyway.
They won't. They'll never listen to this.
That's true. The answer, in my opinion, the reason that I've been successful at finding animals that nobody else can and everything else is following your freaking instinct and your gut and not a textbook. And that is something that we have lost as a species, as human beings. We always go with, okay, well, this is how I've been told to do it. This is how I've been taught to do it. Here's the methodology, put it in a grid, put it in a straight line, whatever.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I'm going with my gut. I'm not going to put these trail cameras in a grid. I'm going to put one here because I see a trail. I'm going to put one by the creek because I think it's a good looking place. I'm going to put one up in a tree because I feel good about it. I'm not saying that everyone should do that in every situation because that will certainly lead to chaos. But I think that at the end of the day, when you're torn about, am I doing it the right way, take a moment to listen to your gut instinct and go with it. At least maybe you'll make mistakes, but at least you followed what you thought was right as opposed to what a book told you to do.
So I have a friend who he does that exact thing, and that's how he trades stocks. And so
he's successful at it?
That's usually if I have a tip for you, it's coming from him because he's one of the people I listen to. But he's like, the second that I bought my second iPhone, he had the iPhone 2, and then when he went to get another phone, he was like, oh shit, it's going to be a pain in the ass to switch. I'm just going to get the iPhone 4. He was like, I'm going to buy Apple stuff, right? The first time that he was he found himself mostly using Amazon rather than going to individual companies to order the stuff, he was like, okay, this is what I'm going to buy Amazon. The first time he realized that streaming Netflix actually worked, right? Because when Netflix announced that they were going to stop mailing DVDs, the stock crashed.
Oh, yeah. People outcry. I was pissed off. I remember that,
So was I. I liked getting the DVDs. And then he was like, oh, this works really well. I'm going to buy a bunch of Netflix stock. So it's basically common sense.
Right.
What do you use? Just buy it. If you're loyal to a product and you see that other people would behave the same way, it's probably a good company to invest in. It's just common sense. You're not looking at a chart.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not looking at earnings per share. You're just going, Amazon's going to be the only way I buy shit from now on. So I'm just going to buy the stock at 100, and now it's at 3.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, there is this interesting dichotomy in today's society because on the one hand, we have what we're talking about, and then on the other hand, we have what your buddy's doing, which is basically why Trump was elected. It's because there's this whole, people know intrinsically that there's a lot of just fucking bullshit and red tape going on, and so there's this whole on the converse of this polarized idea of just people following their gut. I mean, people doing what they're doing. They're influencers. They're just saying whatever. They don't know shit, but they're getting followings of millions of people believing them, dude. So it is fucking crazy.
It's a balance.
Man.
It is a balance, right? You can't go too hard. You can't be like, I never went to school, so I'm going to follow my gut, and I'm going to be a great stockbroker, a great wildlife, but you're not. You got to get an education, and I don't think you can go super hard the other way and be like, I do everything by the book. But then I don't think you're ever going to break the mold. You're never going to be great or phenomenal at it. You're just going to be what the book wants you to be, whatever that is. So I think it's a combination, and it comes down to what Patrick was saying, which was common sense. Figure out when to use instinct and when to use strategy or education. So
yeah.
Man, we got
critical
far
thinking
from wildlife.
Oh, hey, people love this shit.
No, it was all, hey, a lot of our brosners are, our audience skews pretty young, and we have a lot of students in the field of biology and zoology and stuff like that. And they're always asking, they want to know, I think, hey, what is the reality once I graduate?
Yes.
How do people think? What's it going to be like? Am I going to be traipsing around Fernandina Island looking for a tortoise, or am I going to spend 8 years writing about, the migration patterns of a tit?
Correct. Yep. That's exactly. No, and that is useful.
Which there's value to both.
Yeah. No, that is useful.
Yeah.
So guys, this is, after all, a Wild Times podcast where we talk about wild things. And one of the most wild things that I am the most passionate about is rediscoveries, right? Animals that have disappeared off the face of the earth, and then, hey, they're back. Indonesia, crazy country, been there many, many times. It is obsessed with birds. They have bird races. They have this whole thing, I don't even know what they're really called, where they breed these birds, like little songbirds, and then they have these songbird competitions where they see whose bird can sing the longest. Like, it's bananas. Like, they've got all this bird stuff. And I'm not talking like, hey, go here, take a pretty photo of the bird. I'm talking like competitions and songbirds and breeding. They know a lot about their birds, right? They know everything. Like, they go out, they hunt for birds in the forest, they breed them, everything else. This is all set up to explain the fact that you would think in a country that was obsessed with birds, they'd have a pretty good handle on all of the birds that they have in their country. Well, baby birds.
Yeah.
No.
Feed us.
So there's 150 different bird species that are considered lost, with no confirmed sightings. Just like the ivory-billed woodpecker, the great auk, like the animals that we've talked about. Well, sure enough, in Indonesia, a bird last seen 170 years ago. Keep in mind, that's before Charles Darwin published The Origin of Species. 170 years ago.
Almost as old as your grandma.
First described in 1848, a bird called the Black Browed Babbler was rediscovered after 170 years. And the way it was rediscovered is awesome. Couple guys, Indonesian guys, were hiking in the woods, caught this little bird, probably doing the nefarious bird things that I was mentioning earlier, snapped a picture of it, was like, meh, it's valueless, never seen this guy before, let it go.
Yeah.
Did this 6-8 months ago, I forget what it said, then released the photos because they didn't know what it was. Yeah, here you go. And turns out,
if you're listening, come to the YouTube and check this out. There's a picture here of it.
Of a bird that has literally only ever been seen and described once 170 years ago. The Black Browed Babbler has been refound in Borneo. So, yeah, pretty neat.
Well, so, you just mentioned this about when we were talking about the Thylacine in that last breakdown video we did, that a lot of these pictures literally just come by chance from people who are out and happen to snap a photo. And, the odds of this happening are minuscule. This thing hasn't been seen in 140 years or whatever, and now
70,
you got a picture of this thing. Is this the actual picture we're looking at right here?
Yeah, the one. Yeah,
sure
that's
is.
it. I don't know what the one on the right is. I didn't see that one with the Indonesian currency note. But the one on the left is the picture of the guy. His name was Muhammad. That was out hiking, caught the little bird, took a picture of it, was like, "See ya."
That's crazy.
It's this super rare bird that's only been described once. Ornithologists in Indonesia, I forget what they called it. They called it the crown jewel, or so there was some word that they had for if anybody could ever find this bird. And of course, everybody thought it's gone, it's extinct, or it doesn't exist because it was only ever described once. And so when they found it, it was just this huge thing.
And the fact that he's holding it by the feet in the picture is also fucking incredible. I mean, the odds of even finding one to begin with after 140 plus years, and then to touch it and fucking photograph it, it's crazy.
It's pretty cool.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's been called the bird is often called the biggest enigma in Indonesian ornithology. And then the guy's just got a cell phone picture of it in his hands. So it's pretty wild.
It is. Pat, thoughts?
It takes a lot of patience to look for a bird.
Yes.
Birds. Of all the episodes I've been on with you, Forrest, looking for extinct animals, the bird was really unique. We only did one bird out of 23 or whatever, how many episodes we did. It was just, it takes a lot of patience. Yeah. And, it's very different looking for something that is most likely not going to be at ground level and is small, right? Is going to be
in three-dimensional space, right? It's not just going to be on your plane. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I could see why there's, I feel like with Lazarus taxon, it makes sense that there could be a decent amount of birds that we would find because they're just harder to find.
Yeah.
Not to mention with this little guy, and I don't upset anybody, this Black Browed Babbler is pretty much the most boring looking little bird I've ever seen, right?
I mean,
it's
sparrow.
Yeah, like I'm not looking at a peacock over here, you know. Like if that little thing was sitting, like me as someone who, and I'm not a very good ornithologist, but has dedicated my life to extinct species, I didn't even know about this guy. Like didn't know he existed.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been to Borneo. There probably was one sitting 15 feet from my face, and at no point in time did I even give it a second glance. Do you know what I mean? Like I would never even know.
We're fucked. That's speciesist. We're done. Canceled.
I gotta say, man, birds, like, I kind of used to not like birds very much. I don't know why, just they creep me out.
It's weird because you look like one. But yeah.
I do have a bird-like nose.
Face.
But, like, my dad was real into bird watching. Like, he wouldn't go on vacations to go bird watching, but everywhere he lived, which he moved constantly, I don't know why, I think he might have been a criminal, but he would constantly have the book of the local birds, and he had binoculars, and he really liked
into it.
But yet, everything else he did was the same stuff I liked. He loved to booze, loved to party, loved to go out to bars, loved to watch sports. So I was like, what is with this bird thing? And as I've gotten older, I've gotten more into birds. Dude, like I have hummingbird feeders. Like I can watch them all day, man.
Dude,
it's something weird. Like with age, you start liking birds.
I think it's just as you get older, your brain is it's hard to just stop it. Everything's moving faster the older you get, and then anything where you catch on, it's like, oh, like that's like a moment, and I'm just enjoying looking at this.
Now it's gone. Yeah.
Well, also I think once you've seen more shit, right, you start getting amazed by small details. Like when you're a kid, you're amazed by dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It's huge, and it's got to have a lot of teeth, and it's got to be a T-Rex.
Yeah.
And then as you get older, you're like, that hummingbird I'm looking at, its wings are beating at 80 times a second.
So true. It's such a
what?
It's a crazy insight, man. But it's true. But even in the tech world, that's true. Like it used to be like, oh, this software is cool and it does this stuff. And now I'm like, how does this work? Like every little fucking bit. Like it's just like as you get older, you're very much more interested in the intricacies of how things work, whether it's nature or, in my case, tech or whatever. You know.
I do agree.
Yeah. Yeah, so by the time we're all 80, we're just going to be like staring at like a nice woven dish towel and being like, how'd they weave this?
Yeah, I'll be
I could stare at this towel all day.
Floating in space trying to figure out, is there a God up here? What am I doing? Am I floating?
Where the
am I still
octopus
here?
are?
What's happening? I'll be in a wooden box.
Yeah, exactly.
No way I'm making it to 80 is all.
Well, Forrest is shirtless. Retep is 3 sheets to the wind.
Sober. I've had one glass of
Wild
wine.
Times Willie, I think, left the podcast hours ago.
Many
I don't
weeks
know where
ago.
he is. I think it's time, Forrest. I sort of do.
Are you turning into Wolfman? I'm pretty sure that's directly
Dude,
out
I've
of
had like
Teen
3
Wolf.
gin and tonics. I got all fired up on Mr. Potato Head earlier.
Spit one of them out.
I don't know what's going on. I had an internet problem earlier.
All right, man. Battle Royale.
Hey.
I am stoked. You guys have been doing a lot of good ones lately that involve fights to the death. I'm hoping today involves one too.
Well, one of our brosners submitted just a fantastic Battle Royale. If you're listening, hit us up on iTunes, YouTube, wherever, Instagram. Give us your Battle Royale suggestions, because that's where we get them.
That's where
now.
they come
It's
from.
way more fun
we
for
don't
us.
They're way
make them
better,
up.
too.
We're not smart enough.
They're smarter than us.
Well, also, we thought of like 30, and those were our 30 best ideas. You guys still all have great ideas.
Totally.
So let us know. Overland Travels sounds fun. Sounds exciting. I'd like to hang out. Has a great idea. You have to draft a team of 3 animals that are going to fight till death. But, and there's 2 big buts, you can only use animals that have a combined weight of 100 pounds. So your whole team can only add up to 100 pounds.
That's good.
And then I'm going to throw in one thing here, because Forrest has an unfair advantage because he's a herpetologist.
I'm good with that.
You cannot use an animal that has venom.
I thought you were going to say you
Patrick,
can't use herpes, but
Also herpes.
No snakes.
okay.
No snakes. No venomous other reptiles. You get 3 animals, snake draft, although you can't draft a snake. 100 pounds total.
Okay, got it.
God.
Retep's going to have to Google stuff, obviously. So, Forrest, why don't you go first this time?
With pleasure. I will take it away. Hands down, no question. And just to be clear, we are fighting each other's teams at the end of this. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. They're all, you get a month to train them up, which we all could do easily.
I speak all of these animals' languages.
And then they're going to fight till death in this scenario. And we don't advocate you doing this. Don't kill animals or make them fight.
Well, if you can get the 3 that I'm shooting for, I wouldn't say don't do
Go
it.
for it.
All right. Well, this is easy. I'm going to win right now. 1 animal. I need nothing else. It's that simple.
Nah.
I'm forfeiting 70 pounds easy because my first pick, hands down, straight out of the gate, the honey badger. It is the most badass animal in the world. Yep. They're tough as nails. They've got leather hides. They've got claws. They got teeth. They're ferocious. They only weigh like 30 pounds. They're not even that big. And dude, I would rather box a chimpanzee than face a honey badger. Like, shouldn't have let me go first. Shouldn't have done that. Oh, look at that little badass.
I have 2 tabs open. One says weight of a honey badger. One is honey badger facts. I was so excited.
You shouldn't let me go first. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
It's so good. It's such a good pick. They're so badass.
Fine. I mean, they are badass, but there's a lot of game left here.
Okay. Nice.
Forrest just picked a 30-pound animal that fights lions off of their kills.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we just quit?
No. I can definitely, without question, he has not won. I'll just say that.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
You want me to go? Okay.
Since you have to go in the middle because you don't.
I mean, I've picked this animal many times, and not only
herpes
will it have a huge advantage because it's in the air. To give you a little bit of a hint. It was very stupid picking a land animal as your first animal. I am going with the golden eagle. Once again, that will just fucking destroy your stupid honey badger that is milling around on the ground. It'll never be able to catch him unless you have some other type of hunting flying animal. And golden eagle, my first pick. Thank you.
Okay, it's a good pick. It's a good pick. It really is. It's strong out of the gate.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible. You've now got something that can attack from the sky like that. All right, so I'm glad I chose 4 because I was worried someone was going to take one of these 2, and Forrest just took honey badger. I'm going to go with the wolverine.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Now, my original thought was I was going to do honey badger and wolverine, but I was like, they're kind of similar.
Yeah, on different continents.
So I'm going to go with the max size of a wolverine because I don't need to save pounds. So I'm going to go with a 55-pound wolverine.
Okay. Look at that pick. That's pretty badass. Like that is, so to be clear, I had the same mentality, 100%. And I know Retep's going to be like, you guys are so lame. But I was like, honey badger, wolverine, and then I went honey badger. Yeah, look at that thing.
Yeah, so,
you said 35
God,
pounds?
Look at the teeth
I'm making
on this.
notes.
55.
Oh, they are bigger. Okay.
55. I'm taking the max size.
Fair enough.
So I got a 55-pound wolverine. These animals have been seen in Yellowstone Park fighting grizzly bears to steal their kill. They are fearless. They have claws. They have just insane teeth. They have the power to climb trees very quickly. I've got the biggest wolverine you've ever seen on my team, which is dwarfing your honey badger, and it's not scared of your eagle. All right, so that's gone. Now I'm going to stick with my ground attack.
Okay.
And I'm going for, you know how there was a kid in my dorm, we would box, right? And there was this one kid that he was really short. He was probably 5'3", short, stocky guy. So everybody had a reach advantage on him.
Okay.
And so if you just kind of you could kind of Floyd Mayweather him. You could just jab him, stay outside, move. He wasn't super quick. If he hit you, which he did twice, he hit people with his right. If he got you, you were done. He just was a powerhouse. So I'm going with that.
The short, stocky guy, the scary guy.
Yeah, this is the short, stocky guy where if they get you, you're in huge trouble. With 1,200 pounds per square inch bite force, I'm taking an 18-pound Tasmanian devil.
That's a good pick. That's fun.
This is an animal that eats bone. Their bite is just absolutely brutal. They're going to just absolutely kill your golden eagle, Retep. This
How
is
many
a
pounds
terrible
did they
pick
say?
for you.
There's no way.
I'm going to take about the maximum size of a Tasmanian devil, and it's going to be right around 18 pounds.
18-pounder. Got it. Okay. So it's a good team so far. It's a good, scary team.
My ground attack's tight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Retep, what are you going to add to your 4-pound eagle?
Okay. I mean, I'm going to go, I obviously had the best first pick. Talons sharp as fucking staples. I vision that is more than 2020. My golden eagle will decimate all of your animals first and foremost. But if it doesn't, my land animal is heavy enough to basically just stand on any of your meager little bitch animals.
You do remember the rules, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I remember.
No, he's going to pick an 80-pound elephant. He's just going to make something out of it.
No, I'm not. My next pick is a vicious, fast-footed animal. It is a leopard. Yep, I'll have a leopard, 60-pound leopard. That's right. They're not that big. I looked up the weight to make sure I'm within the paradigm of the game. I'll have a leopard and a golden eagle.
He's selected the Zanzibar leopard.
Huh?
Okay. You got a leopard and an eagle.
You took a Zanzibar leopard, a tiny one?
The biggest leopard in existence. A leopard.
Well, no, not that, because that's over. That's too much. But yes.
Wait, real quick, Forrest, who do you think would win in a fight between a wolverine and a leopard? Just if you could only pick between those
zero
two.
question Wolverine. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. What's your picks, Forrest?
Well, I mean, you don't know anything. You're a herpetologist. You study herpes, mate.
That's true. Well, whether I study herpes or not, the next pick in my team is a harpy eagle. Now, while the golden eagle is larger, the harpy eagle, arguably more aggressive. And definitely, in my opinion, a scarier eagle based on the fact that they pluck things out of the treetops like giant sloths and rip them to shreds. So I'm going, look at that guy. Also, the intimidation factor, those head feathers, there's a lot going on there. So, yeah, I'm going for, I got an approach. I'm not gonna put all my cards on the table right now.
Can I ask you a quick question about this harpy eagle? Because we're looking at a picture of it on YouTube. Could you describe what its head looks like for people that are on iTunes?
It's a good question.
I maybe have never seen a harpy eagle.
It almost looks like a snail's head on a mammal body with feathers. It has the eyes that move around. Well, the eyes that, but are those ears? What the fuck are those?
No, those are just feathers. Those are just feather horns.
It's got horns, for Christ's sake.
They are incredible eagle, super large, huge talons. They have a very unique face with these two big feathers that stick off of the top of their head.
It looks like a fucking owl.
Sort of,
in the
I
face.
guess.
How do I become friends with one of those? Jesus,
dude, that thing would kill you. Look at that talon. I don't want to give Forrest pick credence here, but that fucking talon looks bananas.
No, look, I'm gonna have a hard time with your golden eagle. If there's an aerial combat, you've got the size advantage on me. So it's touch or go here. It's touch or go.
That's not the only place I have the size advantage on you.
Also in your waistline. Please continue.
Well, lower.
Very
lower,
much so.
Sir.
No,
lower.
Forrest, you're up for your third pick.
Oh, that's right. I started. Yes. So my approach, very unique. I'm going to cover land, air, and water. But nobody said where this battle's taking place, so I have to be prepared.
On land.
That's fine.
On
I am
Mars.
just prepared for all scenarios. What if it starts raining heavily? Because my third and final pick, an animal that's terrifying regardless of who you are. Patrick has seen one up close and personal. So right now I'm at about 55 pounds, by the way. So to round out, I'm going to pick a 45-pound alligator snapping turtle. And the reason I picked this is Retep's little golden eagle can't do anything against my badass turtle shell. It can just hammer away all day long. It will do nothing.
Oh, mate, you are sadly mistaken. I've already thought this through. Your turtle's defenses will have no defense against my next pick. You're fucked. It was already in the cards. So I'm not worried.
Now, but before we move on, So we have quite a bit of experience with
We sure
alligator
do.
snapping turtles because Forrest and I spent a lot of time wading through, I would say, sort of knee to waist deep marsh when we were looking for the
Ivory-billed woodpecker
in Louisiana. We had a local PA who was helping us out named Ken, and we were talking. You relocated that one alligator snapping turtle that was caught on that snare or whatever. And Ken was like, "Oh man, down here." I'm not making fun of people from the South. That's just this is how he
Ken
talked.
sounded.
He's like, "Oh man, down here like that, we're more scared of those than the gators."
Sure.
He's like, "What? My buddy Slimmy or whatever his buddy's name was." He's like, he's just missing a calf.
Right, I remember that.
He had a friend. Our local PA, one of his best friends, was missing his calf on one of his legs because he was just like wading through the same marsh we were in, and one just took his calf off in a second.
Nope, they're no joke.
It's a vicious animal.
It's
and
slow, don't get me wrong, and it is an armored dinosaur. It's going to have a hard time against, a wolverine, I think, but it's armored. It's got a bite force. Literally, if it bites any of our anybody's animal's leg, that animal's done. Like, it'll just snap it in half. So,
right.
Yeah,
right.
So that's my team. Yep.
All right. Good team. All right. Retep, you got one more.
Seeing as how I have a fantastic land animal pick and the best possible air animal pick in the golden eagle and my leopard. And so we're moving the fight is eventually going to end up in the water because my leopard and my golden eagle are definitely going to be backing you up into some type of puddle. It doesn't matter, maybe a river, wherever there's a source of water. My next pick is a very tiny creature. It might not even register on a gram scale. It is a Neldaria fowleri, also commonly known as the brain-eating amoeba. Motherfuckers. And not only it weighs less, it weighs less than a gram, so I will have trillions. I don't know how many grams equals the rest of my weight, but as many as is up to. Will
nice pick, Will.
These things will fucking eat your brain. They are found in the soil and warm bodies of water, including lakes, ponds, rivers, swimming pools, hot springs, anywhere where there's warm water. You can guarantee that we are fighting in an area where there is warm water, even if it's only one of your animals who took a pee because they're scared of my golden eagle.
How are we getting these up our noses? Because that's how you get it.
Dude, listen, these will be trained for 1 month, as Patrick said. I will train them to crawl up your face, up your turtle's nose, and...
Retep is he'll write a bot that will train his amoeba.
You never know.
It's honestly, it's a dynamite pick. We're all going to lose to Retep's creature in 9 to 8 months, 9 to 12 months when the brain-eating amoeba gets there. But until then, it's pretty clear that you've lost.
Listen, you may have lost the battle, but I win the war with my brain-eating amoeba.
Right. So I've got, how many pounds do I have to spare?
You have none. You're overweight.
You're at 70 right now.
Okay, so I've got 30 to spare. Well, what if I told you that there's a 3-pound animal,
non-poisonous,
that often predates on a 40-pound porcupine? That would sound like a badass, right? I mean, that'd be like a 150-pound man, beating the shit out of like a 2,000-pound man.
27 pounds to spare, though.
I don't need all of it because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a bird local to North America called the great horned owl. This is going to be my flight attack. This 3-pound owl, let me tell you what this owl does, okay?
Sorry.
It will bomb in on a porcupine, which porcupines often go up into trees because they eat a lot of tree bark and stuff like that, right? It will bomb in on a porcupine, scare the porcupine so much that it falls out of the tree and lets gravity kill the porcupine, and then it eats a 40-pound porcupine.
Bro,
I am taking the 3-pound great horned owl. It's going to scare the shit out of your other birds, man.
No, it doesn't just scare.
Your teams suck.
Just because the porcupine is as skittish as you and has the same balance while in a tree doesn't mean that these owls are going.
They are known for having really bad balance. That's funny because The porcupines will sometimes just fall out of a tree and die for no reason other than they have shitty
So
balance.
you've essentially picked a non-animal that just basically scavenges fallen porcupines.
Yeah.
And,
Look, I thought Patrick had it, to be honest. Wolverine is kind of like the more badass honey badger. Tasmanian devil, they're basically dwarfed hyenas. I mean, they can eat through anything. Like, you couldn't put one in a metal box. It would just chew its way out. And then he just went and flopped at the end with a 3-pound owl and a scare tactic. Get out of here. It's going to be fast asleep during this daytime battle.
I established that the battle was at night on land.
Mars.
With no warm water anywhere nearby. I did say that.
So to sum it up, Brosners, if you're listening, Retep has a golden eagle, 20 pounds, an African leopard, 60 pounds, and the Fowler Eye amoeba, which is that brain-eating amoeba, which I will admit he's going to win if we all contract that, but only in about a year when your brain starts rotting.
Trillions of them.
Patrick has picked a Wolverine, incredibly badass, very scary. Will pulled up a great picture. Tasmanian devil. I mean, we've all seen the cartoon. Once they go into whirlwind mode, there's nothing you can do. And then a great horned owl, like a 3-pound owl that's not capable
It's
of much.
unbelievable. He
very,
really
very scary.
he bombed as much as my men's health cover segment bombed at the beginning of the podcast.
Not that much. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't care for either of those teams, the winning team tonight, based on your vote, I hope, will be my team, which is the pick of the honey badger, 30 pounds, the harpy eagle, badass eagle, 22 pounds, and the remaining weight to fill out the team, an armored dinosaur, of course, the alligator snapper. So we've got 3 very badass teams. We'd love to know who you think would win this battle royale. Retep, where can the people weigh in? Where can they find us? What can they tell us about it? Go.
You can weigh in on our YouTube channel right below this video. If you're watching it, just comment, as many people do.
Hang on a sec.
Yeah.
Forrest, I think you've gone over your 100-pound limit.
How do you figure?
Alligator snapping turtle. They're between like 150 and 175 pounds.
They're not born at 100 pounds.
Disqualified. We're not talking about a baby.
No. I said
So
very
what is it?
clearly
You
I
have
was
the
getting
sperm
a
of one?
50-pound alligator snapper. That's what I said.
Okay,
yeah.
fair.
I was like,
All right.
to fill out the weight. I didn't think we had to pick the max weight. I thought we could kind of. Okay.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't. All right. You're right.
Oh, God. You guys are ridiculous.
Don't vote
you know,
for
if
me.
this came up
Vote
and it
for
was
me.
my pick, do you know, it wouldn't be acceptable. But you guys are here.
You would be skewered.
Yes, but you would be saying, well, no, it's a 22-pound elephant, and they're born bigger than that. So that's why when you do it,
Well, I'm
it's
not a
silliness.
herpesologist, so I don't fucking know. But I do know.
No, you're a herpesologist, though, because you always pick that. And again, you've done it with
Stop
an amoeba.
walking all over the promotion.
Quiet.
You can go to the YouTube. It is at thewildtimespodcast.com/YouTube. Everything else to listen everywhere else is at thewildtimespodcast.com/info. You can listen on Spotify. You can listen on Podbean, Apple, Google, if people do that, everywhere to the podcast. But
hey, what about the TikTok, Peter? Did you start
that's a
TikTok
thing.
this
We're
week?
doing that now.
we're doing it.
It's already wildly popular.
I
It's
posted
crazy.
some skunks and people loved it. I posted a Thylacine thing. People loved it. Our TikTok is the same as our Instagram and everything else that we can get this name on. It's at Wild Times Pod. So just look that up. Go there. I need to add that link to the website. I don't know if I can. TikTok's still new. But you can vote on this Battle Royale, which I've clearly won, on the YouTube. Or you can leave us an iTunes review if you go to the wildtimespodcast.com/iTunes-review. It'll show you how to do that because it's impossible. Nobody knows how to fucking do it. Just go to the YouTube, subscribe, like.
Sorry, I interrupted you, but I got excited. And I'll tell you why I got excited. I will. Because if you go and weigh in, if you leave a comment on iTunes or YouTube, one of those two places, you say who you think won the Battle Royale. You leave, 5-star review or a thumbs up if you're on YouTube.
Yeah, it's gotta be a 5-star. If you do a 4-star, thing.
No, yeah, don't even consider it. But if you do one of these things, hey, you're going to get entered into the chance to win something special. Yep, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing a giveaway off the cuff right here, right now. I'm going to give away a nice pair of Flofers. WT Willie, pull up Flofers. If you don't know what flofers are, imagine elegant Crocs.
Oh, I do.
Imagine boat shoes made of rubber that actually look nice, that drain, that are incredibly comfortable. I wear them every time I go on the water. They're awesome. And you get to pick the size, the style, the color, you name it, flofers for you if you go ahead and weigh in. Leave us a 5-star review.
Now, here's what I'll say, Forrest. We've filmed on boats. I've filmed on boats on many shows. You fuck up your feet on boats all the time. A couple of my scariest injuries that I've had are doing something stupid on a boat.
Without a doubt.
You're constantly smashing your
Good
shit up.
boat shoes. It's huge.
If I wore this, I obviously would be divorced and not
Be
have any
divorced.
women
You just
around
never
me.
be able to get another date after your divorce.
Right. But I wouldn't have 16 scars on my feet. I love this idea. Can I enter the contest?
No, but I'll just send you a pair of shoes.
What about me, huh? I need
please
sunglasses and flofers, and I'll wear just those next time we podcast.
If that's a promise.
All right, so how's this work? So 5-star review, comment on either YouTube or iTunes or whatever. Instagram? No.
We're just going to go.
Count.
We're going to go iTunes. We're going to go YouTube. Actually, you know what? Let's make it worse. You got to do both. You got to do both.
Oh, God. I'm going to have to curate all this.
Dude,
Fuck me.
Make it so
Fuck
much work
off,
for
both of you.
You got to do both.
All right.
Leave a comment on iTunes. Leave a 5-star review. Say something on the YouTube about who won the Battle Royale. Get entered to wear a pair of floves.
Guys, people love this on the dailies. Can we just do a very awkward sign-off today?
Yeah. It's always awkward because we don't know what we're doing.
We've never been successful, so I'm just going to do this.
Where am I? Ew. Oh, my God. Good night.
Yeah, that's good. That looks
Good
good.
night.
Forrest, thank you
An
for that.
extended
That
version
looks nice.
awkward sign-off. Fuck off.
It's bad. It's
He's
bad.
gross.
Look at that chest
He's
hair.
terrible. All right.
Someone send Forrest a manscaper.